Hi guys, today we're gonna do a tutorial on custom cell for table view in Swift. Again, we're gonna use Xcode beta version 3, Xcode 6.0. Alright, so let's get started. Open your Xcode and go to create a new project, Xcode project. Then for this, we're gonna use a single view application. And click next, product name, I'm just gonna call it custom cell tutorial Swift. Organization name, I call it Iffy the Perfect. Organization identifier, com.iffy the perfect. Language, make sure to choose Swift. Device, I'm just going to use it for the iPhone, and we're not going to be using core data in this tutorial, so uncheck that if it's checked and click next. And we're not going to create Git repository on my Mac, so uncheck that if it's checked also, and then save it anywhere. I just create and save it on my desktop. Alright, so let's get started. Let's go to our main storyboard, and this is the view that it comes in. Again, we're gonna go to the file inspector. We're gonna unclick use auto layout and use size classes, and just say disable size classes and keep size class for iPhone, and it's gonna change it to the iPhone 5 size, and that's what we want. Alright, so that's a good start. And for now, I'm gonna drag in my TableView Nope, not TableView sorry, just the table view. Let's look for it. Here's the table view. So just go ahead and drag it in here. I'm gonna lower it so it's a little bit lower than my status bar. Alright, so the table view should take up the whole storyboard. Alright, and then I'm going to drag in a table view cell right onto here. Alright, so that's a table view cell there, and then for this custom cell, I'm gonna just put two UI labels and an image view. So if you want easier way, instead of scrolling up and down to look for your UI label, just start typing UI label, and then a label pops up, and just click and drag it onto here. So here's our first label, and just add one more. Here's a second label. We can roughly kind of make it the same size. It doesn't have to be perfect, but that's that. And then a UI image view. Alright, so essentially by creating our custom cell, we can potentially put any kind of information in our table view. Alright, so let's just use that as our image view. And if you want to be more precise, you can go to the size inspector here, and then you can say, oh, you want your image to be maybe 90 by 90, and you want your X to be whatever amount away from this X, and your Y height to be whatever amount from the top. Or you can go to your prototype cell and then go to the size inspector and then adjust the size there too, I think. But for now, we don't need it to be that precise, so I'm just gonna do that. Alright, so we got our three labels and our UI image view, and then we're gonna create a custom class called custom cell. This custom cell will have these three variables. I'm gonna call this one like left label, right label, and my image view. So just go to custom cell tutorial Swift folder, and then right click and then say new file, and then for that we're gonna choose iOS source and then Cocoa Touch class, and then click next. And class is gonna be, I'm just gonna call this class custom cell. And custom cell would be a subclass of UI table view cell controller. No, UI table view cell, sorry, UI table view cell. So if you can't find it, just start typing in UI table view cell and it pops up. Oops. And then we're not going to call it custom cell table view cell, we're just going to call it custom cell. And we're not going to create the zip file. And this one is iPhone, and language, just make sure to have it selected as Swift. We're not going to create the zip file, because if we create the zip file, we can actually make the cell inside the zip file. But now our custom cell is already dragged in the storyboard, so that's why we're not going to be creating the zip file for this. So after this, just go ahead, click next, then create, and now here's your custom cell.swift class. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our main storyboard. You can open up this guy here so you can have a more precise selection. So we're going to choose our table view cell and go to your, I think this is called a class, or identity inspector. Right now your custom cell, I mean your table view cell is under the class UI table view cell. Just go to your identity inspector and then change the class to become custom cell, the class that we just created there. And restoration ID, I'm just gonna call it cell. And so now we're gonna open up our assistant editor. We can close this guy to give us more room. I'm running on a 13-inch MacBook Pro, so it's the screen's not as wide, so I'm gonna close off this guy on the right too, so we have a little bit more room. Alright, so now when we open up our assistant editor, change this to become custom cell.swift on the right, so we can control click and drag our labels and image view onto this class. So go to label, hold control, click and drag it onto here. And for this, connection will be outlet, object, view controller, name, I'm gonna call this one left label, type will be UI label, storage is weak, just press connect. And we're gonna do the same for the middle label. So just hold control, click and drag it onto the class. Oh no, sorry, I think I'm dragging onto the wrong class. Let's cancel it. For this guy, we need to delete it. So right click on him and then right click on the left label and then just click X right here. There we go. So now there's no connection in between. Just delete this one for now, because we don't want ViewController. We actually want to go to the custom cell.swift. There's our custom cell.swift. We actually want to control click and drag it onto that guy. So again, go to the left label, hold control, click and drag it onto custom cell class. Connection is outlet, object, custom cell, name, left label. Type is UI label, storage is weak. Do the same for this guy, hold control, click and drag it. This one I'm gonna call right label. Again, connection is outlet, type is UI label, storage is weak. Same thing for the image view, UI image view, control, click, drag. I'm gonna call this my image view. Type will be UI image view, storage is weak, connection is outlet. Alright, so those are the three that we need, and I think that's all we need for that class. I think that's it for now. We can come back and mess with it later if we need something else, but for now, I think that would be it. And let's see what we should do next. I think then in our ViewController, we're gonna we'll go back to our ViewController.Swift, and for our ViewController.Swift, we're going to we'll go to our storyboard, and then from here we'll change it to ViewController.Swift, which it already is. Click the table view and control click and drag it onto here. So here I'm just going to call this one my table view, and then type as UI table view storage is weak. I need this because sometimes we're going to be like putting stuff on and off, taking stuff on and off the table view, so we need to refer to the table view. So I'm just going to call this my table view. And then for now, I'm gonna have let's see what we should do. We can right click on this guy. We can do that later. What should our cell hold? Our cell will hold a person. Let's just have this label hold a person's name. This label will hold the person's age, and this label will hold the person's image. All right, let's do that. So we're gonna create a person model. So just right click on custom cell tutorial Swift to create a new class, then go to new file, and now we're just gonna create an empty Swift file. So for that, just click next, and for the class I'm just gonna call this save as person. So this will be our person model, and then just click create. Alright, so from there we're just gonna declare a class person. So class person, I'm gonna have a name, var name. I'm just gonna initialize it to become name, var age. So age is gonna be a number. I'll just call it number. Var number equals 0. Var image name is going to be a string, because when we pass in, I guess we're going to pass in an image name, so we'll just call it blank for now. We'll use this later. And we're going to create an initialization method. Our init method is going to take a name, which is a string, and it's going to take a number, which is going to be an int, and it's going to take a image name, which is again going to be a string. And from there we're gonna, in this init method, we're gonna say self.name equals name, self.number equals number, and then self.imageName equals image name. Alright, so what's that's doing is when we initialize an instance of person, we initialize it with this method. We pass in a name, a number, and an image name. Name is a string, number is an int, image name is a string. So for this class we have 3 variables called name, number, and image name. So whatever we pass in the init method is going to be assigned to the respective name. So if we pass in name, it's going to be assigned to self.name, which is this guy. And if we pass in number, it's going to be assigned to this guy. And if we pass in image name, it's going to be assigned to this guy. Alright, so that's our person class, and it's going to be our person model. Alright, so that's good. So let's go back to our ViewController. So now in our ViewController we have our table view, and we're also going to have another variable. I'm going to call this array of persons. Array of persons is going to be of type person, and I put it in these because just to denote that it's an array, because if I just put person without the brackets, then it's just it's just gonna hold one person. But since I put in a bracket, we're telling Xcode that it's gonna be an array of person, and we're gonna initialize it to be again brackets person, array of person, and the parentheses is kind of like a initialize that array, and then we're gonna have, that's it for now. And then let's have a function called setUpPerson. So func setUpPerson. Alright, so to set up person, it's just set up persons. It's gonna load the need brackets here. It's gonna load different persons, add different persons to the array of persons. So in our view did load, we're gonna call this method after. So we'll do self dot setup persons. So in our setup persons, we're just gonna add like a few people. So we'll just add 2 for now, I think. So var, we'll call it person1 equals person, and here's where we use our initialize method that we wrote in the person model. So person name, I'm just gonna call this person Anna, and number age, I'm just gonna make Anna 60. Image name, so we need some images. Let me look at here. Here I have 2 images here. IMG1 and IMG2. Okay, I'm just gonna use these for now. Alright. So just drag them onto here. Copy items if needed. Alright, so here's our img2.jpg, JPEG, and then img1.png. Right, looks like it doesn't show up, or maybe my computer's too slow, I'm not sure. But for image name, oops, forgot number is actually an int, so I'm just gonna take the quotes out. Image name, I'm just gonna make Anna be my this guy, image1. So string name img1.png. Alright, that's our person1. And person2, again we do the same thing. Person2 equals person, initialize it with the name. Person2 is going to be Joe. Let's say Joe is 10. Image name img2.jpg. Alright. So person2's image is going to be img2. Person1 image is going to be img1. And then we're going to add to our array of persons here. So we're going to say array of persons dot append person1, array of persons dot append person2. Alright, so now our array should have two persons in it, Anna and Joe. And then for now we want our people to show up, I mean our persons to show up in the image view, but so we've got to go back to our main storyboard because we need to tell the table view, we need to set the table view's delegate and data source. So we're gonna right click the table view or 2-finger click, and then for data source we're going to click the data source and drag it onto the view controller. So we're telling the view controller to implement the data source methods that is needed. And the same thing with the delegate. Go to the delegate, click it, and drag it to the view controller, saying the view controller is gonna implement some functions for the table view delegates. Alright, so that's that, and go back to our view controller. I mean, you can do that, or if you forgot, you can just say self.myTableView.delegate equals self. That's equivalent to what we just did, and self.myTableView.dataSource equals self. Alright, so, I mean, you can do either way, but since I already did the other way, what's wrong here? Self.myTableView type view controller does not conform. Oh yeah, we need to does not conform to this methods or whatever it's called. So you need to actually type UI table view data source and UI table view delegate. Alright, so once you do that, these messages go away. Now this error is just saying we haven't implemented, does not conform to protocol UI table view data source. It just Means we haven't implemented the necessary methods yet. But I'm gonna take this out since we already did the right click and we already dragged on the data source and table view to the view controller. So that's really not needed. So in the table view delegate, there's no required method. So hold command and click this guy, and then yeah, there's a lot of optional methods, but no required method. But in data source, again, hold command and click this guy, and there's these two functions are non-optional. So once you say you're gonna conform to these protocol, you actually have to implement these two methods called number of row in section and cell forward index path at minimum. I mean, you can always implement more, which are these optional, but for now we're gonna do number of row in section and cell forward index path. So go back to our ViewController.swift and just start typing table view, and then all the methods pop up for the table view. And we're gonna look for the one that says number. It goes in alphabetical order. So where's the number? Let me try again. Table view. Where did that go? Let me look at the data source method one more time. It's table view number of row in sections. Alright. Let's come here, UI table source delegate number table view DEFGHIJ. Where is that method? We can just copy and paste it onto here. Just control click and copy here and drag it onto here. I'm gonna blame this on Xcode. Alright, so there, we control click dragged it onto there. And for this, for number of row in sections, we're just gonna return the number of the array of persons. So array of persons dot count. So we're just gonna return that. And the other method is called cell for row at index path table view. See if that one shows up. Wonder where those methods are. Alright, well, I guess we're gonna go back to a TableView Delegate, and we're just gonna copy, TableView Data Source, and we're just gonna copy this one called cell for row at index path. I'm gonna copy it, go back to our ViewController, and then paste it on there. Alright. And then for here, this part is the part where we do something with the cell. So this part we're gonna say let cell, and cell will be a type custom cell. Custom cell equals table view dot dequeue reusable cell with cell with identifier. The identifier is gonna be cell because we wrote that identifier before when we started. So this one, open up our right bar. The restoration ID is cell. Let's see. Oh, here reuse identifier. We're gonna call this one cell too. All right. So if we missed that, go to your main storyboard, click on your custom cell, go to your, what's this guy called? I don't know what this fourth guy is called, but fourth one from the left, identifier cell. Click that guy, and then Alright, it's called Attributes Inspector. Alright, go to your Attribute Inspector, identify a cell, and then we can go back to our ViewController. I'm just gonna close off the Assistant Editor too, so we have more room. Alright, and then from there, we're gonna say TableView.requeue identifier with identifier cell as custom cell. And then at the very end, we're gonna say return cell. Alright, and the part in the middle is where we're gonna kind of set our cell. And for this tutorial, I'm gonna show you also how to do like a alternating color cell. So I'm gonna say if index path dot row mod 2 equals 0. That means if it's an even number, like 0 mod 2 is 0, 2 mod 2 is 0, 4 mod 2 is 0. So if it's an even number cell, I'm just gonna say cell dot background color equals UI color dot purple color. So if it's an even row, it's gonna be purple color. Else it's just gonna make it orange color. So cell dot background color dot orange color. Alright, and then from there we're gonna say let person equals array of persons at index path dot row. Okay, so let's say if 0 was passed in, it would be array of person at 0. If row 2 was passed in, it would be array of person at 2 or at 1 or something, depending on the index path dot row, and the cell for at index path gets called so you can draw your cell. And then from there, we're just gonna say we have a couple ways to do this. We can go ahead and say cell dot left label dot text equals person dot name, or if you want, you can go to the cell class and then have like a set cell function method in there. So that's what I'm gonna do instead. So instead of doing this person dot number, so instead of doing that, I'm just gonna go ahead and declare all those in the custom cell class. I think it's a little bit cleaner. So go to your custom cell dot swift, and in our custom cell dot swift, we're gonna create a method called set cell. So func set cell is gonna take a left label text. Left label text is going to be a string, and it's gonna take a right label int. Right label int is gonna be an int, and it's gonna take an image name. Image name is also gonna be a string. Alright, and then from there we're just gonna say self.leftLabel.text equals left label text. Right label self.right label.text label int. And here casting in Swift is a little weird for me, but I'll get used to it, because normally we cast like this if we want to cast an int into a string, but in Swift we actually put the parentheses around the argument that's passed in, or around the variable. So here we just say string, and we put the parentheses around this right label int. So this casts the int into a string, so we can assign it to the right label.text property. And we're also going to say self.imageName, self.image, oh no, it's called myImageView, self.myImageView equals image name. Alright, self.myImageView, or myImageView, no, sorry about that, it's not self.myImageView.image. equals UI image equals UI image, and we're gonna use the initialization, the one with name on it. So we set the name, so it's like you pass in the name of the actual image. So the name is image name. There we go. So that's our function of set cell. It's gonna set all of the cells left label, right label, and the image view. And from that, we're going to go back to our ViewController, and we're going to in our cell for row at index path method. After that, we're going to say custom. Let's see what we call our custom cell. Oh, cell. We'll say cell dot set cell, and for set cell, we're gonna pass in our. For the left label text, we're gonna pass in person.name, and the right label int, we're gonna say person.number, and image name, we're just gonna pass in person.imageName. All right, and with that, we should be. Our cell should be set. So let's run it and see what shows up, and then. Let's run it on our iPhone 5S and see what shows up. If nothing shows up, then I'll try to fix something. Alright. It's running just a little slow. Is it running? Let me see my simulator. Okay. Anytime now. Okay, maybe a couple more minutes. Maybe 5. Oh, looks like there's something. There's movement, so this is our method, our class. Sorry, here, I'm gonna try to launch this one more time, see what's going on. Not our class, sorry, our app. Oh, good, something showed up. That's great. Worked the first time. Rarely ever happens. So here's Anna 60, Joe 10 with the image. Kind of good, pretty good. Here, from now we can add more persons if we want. Var person3 equals person. Let's say the third person, we're just gonna call this guy Pat. Pat's gonna be 35. And Pat's gonna have img1.png too. Var person4 equals person, and this one I'm just gonna call it Patty. Patty's gonna be 22. Patty will have img2.jpg, and then we add in those people that we just added. Array of person dot append person3 and array of person dot append person4, and then run it, and then those guys should show up. Alright, so that's pretty good. Everyone showed up. Anna, Joe, Pat, and Patty. And see how those cells are alternating colors? That's what we did right here. Alright, and what we're gonna do next is probably do the. I'm gonna do let's do a delete where you swipe to the left and it deletes the cell. So for that I think that's in the one of the methods in the delegate. So that one's called let's see. I think that one's called commit editing style. Alright, so ViewController. Here, let's say commit, nope, table view. Commit editing style, let's see if it's there. Commit editing style is not there either. Wonder what's going on with the auto completion. Look into that later. For now, I'm just gonna hold command and click into the UI TableView Delegate. Hold command and click this guy, and then I'm just gonna search. So command F to search and just start typing commit, and then you see this method here called commit editing style. Commit editing style, just copy this method, and then go back to your ViewController and paste this method here. Alright, well, you don't need the optional, just starting from the part that says func, and then from there we'll just say if editing style equals UI table view cell editing style dot delete. So if it's the delete style, which is the swipe to the left, then what we're gonna do is we're gonna say array of persons dot remove index at index. Remove at index is gonna be index path dot row. So in this tutorial, we only have one sections, but if you're gonna have multiple sections, then you need to do extra checks, and you need to have a method called like number of sections in TableView or something like that. Because here's number of row in sections, then you have another method called number of sections of something, and then you need to modify that if you have multiple sections in your TableView. But for this tutorial, we're just gonna keep it to one section. Alright, so we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna call reload on our table view. So in our commit editing style, after you remove the object from the array, we're gonna say self.myTableView.reloadData. Alright, let's run it, and then that should implement the delete function. Okay, so it should be 4 people: Anna, Joe, Pat, and Patty, and those are alternating color. Let's say we want to delete Pat. We just swipe them to the left, and here comes our delete method. We press delete, and then Patty moves up, and then it redraws the cell. Here's when we do reload data, and the alternating colors are still there, and it becomes Anna, Joe, and Patty instead, because we've just deleted Pat. Let's say we want to delete Anna. Do delete Anna. Now there's only Joe and Patty left. Alright, so there's that, and then I'll do one more method called did select row at index path. So when we select it, we're gonna have it go to like a detail view or something. So this part hopefully doesn't take that long. So go back to our main storyboard, open up the last tab right here, the hide or show the utilities. Okay, so show the utilities. And here just find another view controller, because when we click on a cell, we're gonna want it to go to this view controller, and this view controller is just gonna have 3 things. It's gonna have 2 labels here. It's gonna have a label of name. There's our name. Okay, let's center this. Not that the label is centered. And then there's our age. We'll put it right here. Okay, here's our age, and then let's have a image view also. A UI image view, and we're just gonna put the image view at the bottom. Alright. Alright, so this one will be our detail view. So when we click on a cell, we're going to want to see this guy. Alright, so for that, we're going to have to create one more class. We're going to call this class a DetailViewController. So right click and then go to new file. And then for this, it's going to be a Cocoa class. So make sure the iOS is selected, iOS source, and then go Cocoa Touch. My Xcode sometimes chooses the OS X version for some reason, so make sure to change it back to iOS. This OS X is a Cocoa class, source is a Cocoa Touch class. And then from there, click next, and class I'm gonna call it a DetailViewController, and it'll be a subclass of UIViewController. Alright. And then yeah, we don't need to create the zip file because it'll be this guy. I mean, we can again if we want, but for now I already drew it on the storyboard. So language is a Swift. So click next and then click create. Alright, so there's our detail view controller. Go back here. So this view controller, go to your class inspector or identity inspector. For the class, let's call it let's see, click on this guy for the class. Instead of being a UI view controller, make sure it's a detail view controller. And storyboard ID, just change it to the same name, I think. So control, like copy the detail view controller and paste it in the storyboard ID. Alright, and then go back to our detail view controller. Actually, we need to connect these things first. So open your assistant editor and hide the utility tab. Control click and drag onto here. Here, make sure the class is a detail view controller. I'm just gonna call this one name label. Type is UI label. Storage is weak. So that's our name label, and control click and drag this label, the bottom label. I'm just gonna call this H label. Type is UI label. Storage is weak. And last one is UI image view. Control click and drag. This one I'm gonna call this my detailed image view. Type UI image view. Storage is weak. And since we're gonna be passing in some information, I'm gonna create 3 other variables. I'm gonna create a variable called nameString. NameString is gonna be of type string, and we don't have to initialize anything. We're gonna use this question mark. I think it's called optional. So it's like only things that are declared optional can be nil. So if we do this and we assign it to nil, it's gonna be an error. Xcode's not gonna like this because only things that are optional can be nil. So here we're just gonna say string optional. So this automatically assigns the name string to nil if we don't assign it to be like anything. So if we assign it to be like name, that's okay. But if we leave it like that, it automatically initializes with the nil. So we're gonna do the same thing here for var hint, but this one I'm gonna initialize it to 0. I think we can also do it this way, but I don't think it really matters, so we'll try it this way. So var, again, my detailed image name is gonna be of type string, and it's optional also. So now all these 3 are nil to begin with, and in our view did load, what we're gonna do is when these 3 are passed in, when these name string age and my detailed image name is passed in, we're gonna set these label in the UI image view. So in our view did load, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say self.nameLabel this guy dot text equals name string, and then we're gonna say self dot h label dot text equals h int, but h int is an integer, so again we need to cast it, so remember to type the string in the front and put the parentheses around the actual variable itself. Let's see, h int, there we go. And now we're gonna say the last guy is self dot my detailed image view. No. Oh, these two are the same name. My detailed image view. Let's just, no, actually, sorry, they're not the same name. My detailed image view is the top guy. We're gonna assign this dot image equals UI image, and again name is gonna be this name right here, my detailed image name. Alright, so I think that's all we need to do for this class. So when we pass in the variables, and this thing is white, we'll see if it works. So when we pass in the variables here in our view did load, when it loads this my DetailViewController, the label will be set according to what's passed to these variables. So now what we're gonna do is in our ViewController.Swift, we're going to implement a method called didSelectRow at index path. So again, table view didSelectRow at index path. Here's we go, didSelectRow at index path. There's two methods here called didDeselectRow and didSelectRow. Make sure to select the one that says didSelectRow, because didDeselectRow gets called when you deselect a row, but didSelectRow method gets called when you actually select a row. Alright, so in our didSelectRow at index path, we're gonna say let person equals array of persons, and then array of persons, it'll be the object at index path dot row. And now we have the person object. Now we're gonna have we're gonna do a var. Oh, okay. So we're gonna do a var DetailViewController. It's gonna be of type DetailViewController, and that's gonna be self.storyboard instantiate ViewController. Oops, sorry, did instantiate ViewController with identifier. And the identifier is going to be the name that we gave in the storyboard. The storyboard identifier. So just click this guy, open your utility. We called it a storyboard ID is DetailViewController. So again, go back to your ViewController and then plug that in there. It's identifier DetailViewController as DetailViewController. Alright, so that's that, and then we're gonna say DetailViewController dot forgot what I call these guys. Dot name. Oh yeah, dot name string equals person dot name DetailViewController dot h int equals person dot number, and DetailViewController dot, what's the last one called, like my detailed image name equals person dot image name. Alright, so we created an instance of a DetailViewController, and from there we assign the variables, the name string, the hint, and the myDetailImage name. And now we can present our ViewController. So just say self dot present ViewController And the view controller to present will be this one, the DetailViewController. And animated, yes. So by Swift we say true. Completion, after completion we're not going to do anything, so nil. And then from there, let's run it. There's one fail. What's fail? Value optional type int not unwrap. Did you mean to use this thing? I think the exclamation point forces it to unwrap. Let's try it. Run. Alright, looks like no problems now. Let's select Pat 35 image. Oh, we gotta go back. So again, we'll go back to our DetailViewController. We'll implement a method called touchesBegan. TouchesBegan. So when it starts touching, we're just gonna dismiss. So self.dismiss ViewController true, completion nil. Alright, so when you start touching the ViewController, I mean the DetailViewController, it's gonna dismiss it to the original table view. So again, let's run this one. Joe 10. Click Joe 10. If he had do the touch, it goes back to this one. Pat 35, Patty 22. So there's our custom cell. There's our did select row at index path, and here's our delete, so you can delete these things. And if you want like these selection, if you want the selection to go away, just go back to your view controller, and in the did select row at index path at the end, just say cell.mytableview.deselect row at index path, and the index path would just be the same index path. Animated true. Alright, so if we run it one more time, I think this will be the last thing we're going to do. So select Joe, but when we come back it's deselect, because once you select it, you look really close, it kind of animates a deselect right after. Alright, so hopefully you find this tutorial useful, and I'll see you next time with a new tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.